1.6. So I suggested, why don't we have renovation costs, or instead of just, let's understand that we're gonna demolish something. So I think that all of those considerations should come as a result of this architectural study. They should say, well, we think you should demolish this building because of it has this, this, and this, or perhaps the potential for renovation if it were this use. Now, I know somebody told me today that there was a school district that they know who had a same situation, and they sold the school that was renovated into condominiums because of the location of the school was quite central. It happened to be a great place for condominiums. I don't know if any of these apply, but perhaps Nyack Center would be a good spot for that. But, so there are many different options that will be vetted out, I think. But they have fired this firm.
Do you know the name of the firm?
They have said that they're planning on budgeting, in their budget, in one line item, and I have the summary sheet here, there's $40,000 to go toward this. It's on the bottom, I don't know if you have this yet. $40,000 to go toward this 91, and then the rest of the money would be taken out of the rent that Learn provides to the district for its portion of the school that they occupy. And Anna has verified the fact that there is money in there for that use, should it be approved, and there's also money, about $100,000 for security upgrades from that rental program as well. So there's a lot of moving parts, and you may have read that there's, I think there are 4.88% increase that they're proposing. I think the Board of Ed will get that down a little bit. But we have a number of dollars in there that are already gonna come out or are flexible, and the same with the town. We have some items that we'll be able to pare down at the Board of Selectmen level and work with you with suggestions I hope to be able to make to you to bring that down, so that I think that our budget will end up to be where we have been accustomed to be over the last 4 or 5 years at a 1 or 2% increase.
Two questions, if I might. Related to the $92,000 for the architect. So, if I'm not mistaken, this year, maybe it was, we received 3 options that were gonna cost close to, they're within $40,000 of each other, to build a new school, to beef up Lily B. I forget what the other one is, but we had 3 options that were presented. So maybe you can offer me some clarification, if you know, how will this study be different than that study? And I guess I thought we already spent money for that. Am I misinformed?
I think this has been presented as a more detailed architectural design with more specifics than just an overall generality. But that's a question you may want to ask the committee there.
Okay.
So this would be looking at it as a fresh look and building in actual costs for different options?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a fresh look. I think it may be a more specific look instead of an overall picture. What this first study perhaps did was said, here are the choices that we think you have. This study will say, we think this is the choice, and if so, here is the cost associated with the choice. Here is what we anticipate the community cost to be versus the state reimbursement fees. Here is the time frame. Here is what you have to do, and here is the process that we will help lead you through to get to a referendum. And I think that's what the 2 phases of that contract is.
So the cost analysis will come in and be what it is, and then it still goes before the town to vote, and the town may choose to vote. They can choose on any option. We'll have.
No, I believe they're gonna get one option. It's my understanding is they're gonna get one option
And what will the
to
vote?
vote on.
Oh,
And
it'll be a yay or nay.
It will say, it will be yay or
Okay.
nay. It will
Spend the
say,
money
we're
or
gonna
don't spend the
close,
money.
Okay,
we're
got
gonna
it.
close Nyack Center, we're gonna renovate the 2
Got it.
schools. It's gonna cost X.
Yeah,
Here's the vote.
you in or
This is-
not? Okay,
This is what, and if you vote no, then that doesn't mean, I don't know whether that means they're gonna say, okay, well, what if we close? I don't know what they're
might be
gonna do
back to the
after
drawing
that.
board, right? My second question is, I think we did receive communication, I think from you. You passed it on to us a couple months ago. I think I had the change in process this year about when the Board of Ed presents their budget, should we have recommendations that are non-education related? If we make those recommendations to the board, although they're not obligated to act on our recommendations, if I understood the communication right, which sometimes that's all a little obtuse to me when I'm reading it, but I understood that if they don't accept our recommendation, now the change is they have to submit something to us in writing as to why they're not accepting it. Did I understand that correctly?
You're referring to a state statute that was enacted in October that calls for a time plan. I'm not sure if it was 10 days or, it sounds like you may be correct. But there has to be communication in writing. When I mentioned that to the Board of Education, they said, geez, we kind of do that anyway as we pass budgets back and forth. So,
Well,
given the time frame that we're looking at now, if they have finished their budget on March 10th and then you get it on March 12th, you know, I don't know quite the practicality of how that will work. You may get the budget and say, you know what, we aren't going to look at it until a special meeting on March 19th. You know, and then give it back to them, and I don't know if you want to go back and forth at that point. You may
Well,
just want to make a decision.
yeah, I guess I'm just trying to understand how it will work. Let's just say we've made recommendations in the past about renting computers instead of buying them kind of thing, right? I mean, it wasn't education related directly. So let's say we make a similar recommendation this year. I'm trying to understand how this will go, what the expectation is. If we make a recommendation to the Board of Ed, and they choose, and they do not agree with our recommendation, how will this go? Will they submit something to us?
I'm not sure, to be honest
Okay.
with you. I'd have to look at the statute and look at the actual time that they're finished and see if we can blend it together, but I think we're working together with it. But my sense would be you would just do what you think you need to do at that point. I mean,
I believe the 10 days was 10 days from when they present us with the budget. We have to get back to them with our
yeah.
non-educational recommendations.
Right, but I thought I read if they
And
don't,
then if they don't accept them, they have to come back in writing and explain why.
that's what I understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
So-
a departure this year from what we have been doing.
That is a new law that we talked about, so we'll have to find out the mechanics and how that works.
That's the
That's what
basis
we'll
of
have
my
to do.
question.
We'll know that, you know, I'll relook at it, but I did give you a copy
Yes.
of all of that, and I will ask Anna to.
Yeah, I'd appreciate having a little more guidance as to what we can expect
Yeah,
and how
I
that can
don't
unfold.
think that,
I don't think it really changes anything other than that they have to put in writing.
and I don't
Well, they
think,
haven't
let's say,
before.
for example, you didn't do it. Let's say something happened, it was 12 days, or you didn't, you know, the time frame worked where everybody was passing information anyway. I think it's more designed for those municipalities and boards of education that are in conflict with each other. There are such communities, and I think this was designed to kind of help the communication process amongst those communities. We have a very good relationship with our Board of Education. We work very closely with them, so I don't see that as being an issue.
I agree with
So-
that. I just wanted to understand if this was a
Yeah.
different process and if it was gonna unfold a little bit differently. I'm not suggesting
Yeah.
there's any
Well,
contentious.
they're gonna present the budget to us on the 12th, along with presenting it to the town.
Yeah, so.
And we're not doing their portion of the budget until the 27th. So that's probably greater than 10 days, but that's probably how it'll work.
Yeah.
We'll
I
give
mean,
them
you
our
know, it
recommendations
could-
on the
it-
27th.
You could look at it, but perhaps you could, you know, provide Anna with some direction. She could work with Mr. Maltenberger. He could, you know, some email or paper, go back and forth if there was some need for compliance. I mean, but I don't see that as an issue. I really see
Okay.
this statute as being a protection for those people, those municipalities who have conflicts with the board.
Thank you.
All done with
I
the,
believe that's everything I had.
Could I ask a few questions? So, in terms of the Board of Ed budget, so we know that there's a savings of $372 in terms of the delay and the Affordable Care Act for the paraprofessionals. And then what I'm confused about, because I read the articles, is the second part of the teacher's evaluation. I thought it was delayed, or, I mean, maybe I'm getting mixed up with Common
No,
Core.
I can be very specific on that if you like.
Yeah, because it was very confusing. I was listening to a radio interview with the Commissioner on Education. He was talking about that word, decoupling.
Yeah, what happened was you heard that the governor and the commissioner of education had responded to a request from the teachers union that this was far too cumbersome for them in the classroom. The change was too onerous to make all at one time. And so they decided to monitor or be flexible or delay is the word they used. What actually happened was the original plan would have called for, and this is the evaluation that I have for our local district. It may be different in other districts, but this is in relation to the 5 schools that we have based on the number of teachers and administrators that we have to administer the evaluations. That it would take 81 days of administrative time to comply with the evaluation process as directed by the Commission on Education. The delay that you spoke about really wasn't much of a delay. It just reduced the amount of days by 8, down to 73 days. And it opened up some other opportunities for informal reviews. Instead of, some of these reviews call for a 6-hour, all-day review of the classroom, where the administrator has to go there, spend 6 hours in there. There's some things that they must do during that point in time. And so the flexibility that the governor and the Commissioner of Education offered reduced that to 3 10-minute evaluations in addition to a 1 longer time. So the net effect was a reduction of 8 days. So it really wasn't much of a
So
reduction.
that's not gonna have any
It was
effect at
not a
this
delay.
time in terms of the hiring that the Board of Ed wants to do, because of the administrator saying that they could not be able
Administrators
to.
can't do this.
So that, they're talking about an additional administrator in each school, or the middle school and the high school.
For the high school, the evaluations for the teachers in the high school would take the principal 70-some-odd days to accomplish
Right.
just doing that. Forget about evaluating the results of those
Yeah, the data.
evaluations. That's an additional number of days.
Right.
And then all the other stuff that he does in a 180-day school year,
Right.
so.
So in terms of those positions, there's nothing we can do with them at that time in terms of looking at, unless you're successful with others up there to delay that, those items that are in there for personnel expansion.
I
Based
think
on
you're
the
gonna
teacher
see the Board of
evaluation.
Education come by March 10th, unless something happens between now and
It's
March
gonna
10th.
be in there, right.
They're gonna come in and say, look, we propose hiring retired administrators, retired professionals, that will oversee this evaluation process at a per diem cost that will be built in to the budget.
Okay.
Right now, it's built in on their line item, they have $452,707. There's,
But that's,
I think, teacher
Health and-
evaluations are in that, the architect fees of 40,000 is in that, and security is in that at about 100,000. So
Okay.
that puts about 280,000 for the evaluation costs. So I think you're gonna see that. What concerns me, and I think where we'll hopefully get some traction in Hartford, is that the minimum budget requirement will be impacted by any dollars that we allocate to the Board of Education in any form. That goes on to next year. You can't reduce that by more than 1% or 2% from the previous budget.
right.
So what'll happen is if we do this, and it's a 1 or 2 year program, we may be
We're
stuck paying
stuck,
for it, even
right.
though our enrollment will be declining and we're entitled to a credit per each student on a declining enroll based on the minimum budget requirement. So I'm hoping that between the Teachers Association that's not happy, between municipalities, I have to imagine, like us, that are gonna be faced with hundreds of thousands of dollars in costs, that's hopefully a pretty good, strong train that's gonna, be facing this administration into doing something different. Beside the fact that this program is coming from New Jersey, based on a model and a program coming to New Jersey, which has not been completed yet, nor have been evaluated as to effectiveness.
Right.
So if you add in the fact that we don't know if it's gonna work, and I have a letter that I got from Dr. Lombardo today, who he forwarded to the administration, the Commissioner on Education, was very specific. I got that in an email. I will forward that to all of you for your consideration. It's very eloquent, very well written. So I can't see in
really-
good sense that this will go forward.
So, say afterwards, before this session's over, but after we're already stuck with no